This is another look at a series that I'm doing during the 2024 regular season called One Play Wednesday, where I take a look at one play concept from across the league in various games that I enjoyed or thought were interesting or important. In this case, I'm getting away with one a little bit. I'm going to cover the Chargers using a cover three in the preseason that I'll let flow through here one time, and then I'm going to come back to it, circle back to it, if you will. I think it's number one, very interesting. Number two, somewhat anomalous the way they're doing it. I love the replacement cover three concepts that we see teams play all across the league. It ends up, being a pass from Stetson Bennett for 24 yards to Harper. We'll get back to it here in a moment, and I'll try to explain to you or break it down somewhat how it's anomalous. Cover three, you're normally talking about three deep defenders and four underneath coverage guys. You get a pretty nice delineation of it here. Kirby Joseph is sitting at a little bit more depth, but this is a 3rd and 12, and oftentimes when you have the safeties inserting on the hash, they're a little bit deeper than the inside linebackers slash nickel defenders who lined up closer. There's your three deep delineation in terms of the two corners and the free safety. In this case, Baker Mayfield rips a pass in week 13 to Mike Evans, who unfortunately drops it. Let this one flow through one more time. You got 5 defenders on the line of scrimmage. One of them is going to drop out. It's Alex Anzalone. He's pushing into the flat, curl flat, to be precise. Kirby Joseph is sitting on the hash. He's actually not moving that far forward is what I drew. Derek Barnes on the hash. And then Will Harris, curl flat. That's your 4 underneath droppers. Pause it one more time so you can see the normal delineation of it, even though the safety, in this case Kirby Joseph, inserting down on the hash isn't the typical usage of it post-snap from an alignment standpoint. Again, another safety. In this case, I think it's Micah Fitzpatrick inserting onto the hash for a cover three. It's a 2nd and 12, week 13 last year against the Cardinals. It goes incomplete. I'm showing you these, what I would say, basic or normal versions of cover three. So then we can get to the crazy-ass one that the Chargers used in the preseason game. I couldn't find too much more I wanted from Week 3 for One Play Wednesday this week, and I would suggest to you to give me information or suggestions for what you'd like to see me cover each particular week. If you enjoy this series, that is, and if you'd like to see me cover particular plays. This is a 2nd and 15, so oftentimes you're talking about a long yards to gain. 3rd and 12, 2nd and 13, 2nd and 15. There's teams, Mike McDonald, who will use cover three in any situation, in any place on the field. Also will use them multiple versions of cover three. In fact, all of these versions of cover three are things that Mike McDonald will play. Notice you got 4 defensive linemen, or 2 outside linebackers, 2 D tackles. Those guys are going to be your rushers. So there's no attempt at obfuscation here. 38, I think, is pushing the curl flat. Safety sitting down on the hash once again. You do get an underneath completion to Rondale Moore, who happens to outrun the guys underneath. I think he only gains like 6 or 7 yards on a 2nd and 15, though. So it's mission accomplished. It's a successful play for the Steelers. Ravens with a cover three drop. And look, some of you Ravens fans or Lions fans have heard me talk about cover three and all the different versions many, many times, so forgive me for that. If you want to tune out at this point, go right ahead. But the point of this is to talk about how teams get to a cover three post-snap with different pre-snap looks and then different movement patterns by their safeties, linebackers, and in some cases outside linebackers after the snap. Jadeveon Clowney dropping out into the flats here. Also, Geno Stone kind of sitting down on the hash, basically taking an inside linebacker's post-snap responsibility in a cover three because Roquan Smith is blitzing. He's executing a pick scheme up here to the top side. So he was running at this angle, just trying to take the guard with him and pick the left tackle such that the defensive end could fold underneath. So you have a lot going on this particular play. It ends up with a great hit by Geno Stone on Boyd, who catches it, but this is 2nd and 14, well short of the line to gain. This is an example of the type of post-snap movement and coverage variability that so many teams, the Ravens and now Seahawks included, obviously, but multiple teams across the NFL are trying to give quarterbacks a different look pre- and post-snap, in some cases 2 different looks pre-snap, such that their processing is slowed down and the pass rush can get there before they can get the throw off. A couple of more versions. This one ends up in a sack. This is 2022 film, by the way. Really cool little execution by Tyus Bowser, if you ask me, who has since signed with the practice squad of the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm very interested to see what he does. But cover three, you've got all the markers of two inside linebackers potentially dropping on the hash. Nickel defender, in this case Kyle Hamilton, dropping curl flat, and maybe you get a corner sticking in the flats. That wouldn't really be cover three there, but it could be anyone responsible for this area here. What the Ravens do on this particular snap is they bring Patrick Queen. They drop out the field side outside linebacker, Tyus Bowser, and he is responsible for the hash, hook to curl, to the field. Since Patrick Queen is on a blitz, Roquan Smith is slinging over to Patrick Queen's pass drop. Additional to that, Chuck Clark is dropping down to the boundary. So you can see multiple versions of cover three being played here by the Ravens, by Mike McDonald's defense. We're talking about a span of 2 years here, 2022 and 2023 film that I'm showing you in this video. But I collect and keep a ton of these concepts because I want to be able to show them later on. And what I love about this one is you've got almost like, imagine a rope. Patrick Queen is at the beginning of that, and that pulls Roquan Smith to this area, which then pulls Tyus Bowser into the pre-snap area of responsibility for Roquan Smith. It all ends up looking the same as the Steelers plays and the Lions plays that I showed you. You have some difference here in terms of how close Roquan Smith and Tyus Bowser are. Tyus Bowser is actually doing a great job of getting his hands on the receiver in the middle of the field, and then Roquan Smith overtakes him. All in all, you end up getting to a different look with different players covering the same area of responsibility. Almost a mirrored version in some ways. You get the nickel defender blitzing. It's a great job by Justin Houston, who I guess at this point is retired. Again, this is 2022 film. So Kyle Hamilton is blitzing off the edge. That's the addition to the rush. The subtraction is to the other side. It's Odafe Owe dropping out into the curl flat, into the boundary. Post snap, you do get a nice clean look from Queen, Roquan Smith, and Chuck Clark. Of course, Odafe Owe's depth of drop is going to be shorter because he was on the line of scrimmage initially, so he's going to be behind these guys. This is a cover three, even though Odafe Owe makes it look anomalous and then Justin Houston holds on. You can use it to obfuscate or change the look for the quarterback post-snap. I'm trying to keep these videos to 5 to 7 minutes. We're going to be over here on this one. Another really cool version of it, if you ask me, this was last year, Anthony Richardson and the Colts against the Jaguars. They're dropping out Trayvon Walker to the boundary here, and his path is going to be dropping him a little bit too vertical to deal with Josh Downs on this little just out sit route. And as soon as Trayvon Walker looks back to the quarterback, it's pretty much over because he's not covering the route. But you do get a nice little umbrella here of these four defenders, and you can see Trayvon Walker should have been a little bit more horizontal. Not exactly that angle that I drew. Should have been a little bit more horizontal, but here's your cover three delineation in the back. So you got multiple versions of it. Outside linebackers dropping. In some cases, outside linebackers replacing the inside linebacker. Steelers showed you the drop look of the safety dropping down onto the hash. Getting to my point overall here about the Chargers look in the preseason, which is pretty cool. That's Stetson Bennett, and I think it's Harper, the receiver, handled it so well. It's 11 personnel for the Rams, obviously. And the Chargers appear to have their base defense on the field, and there's a lot going on post-snap. I'm not necessarily focused on the result. I enjoy how they did this. Inside linebacker, nickel defender, inside linebacker walked up on the line. You can see three-man overload potential from the boundary, from away from the running back, opposite the running back for the Rams. Post-snap, you're getting a blitz from the inside linebacker that was lined up here to the boundary, and then a replacement from the other inside linebacker. That's the one cool aspect of it. Boundary side safety is going to sit in the curl flat. These guys are a little close right now. We'll run it back a couple of times so you can see how they accomplished it. It's an outside linebacker dropping to the hook to curl, basically hash for reference purposes. And the nickel defender, 29, pushing out to the flat. So there's a moment there where those guys are kind of close, and Stetson Bennett gets a throw off over the middle of the field. We'll give you the end zone angle so you can see the window. It's a 4-man rush, cover 3, 4 underneath droppers, and we don't have a clean job here, maybe because of where I chose to time it in terms of the nickel and the outside linebacker exchanging. It's one of the drawbacks to playing multiple versions of cover 3, or any coverage that is sometimes you end up with a player on the hash who's a little bit stationary, a little bit locked in to their position on the field, and a little bit locked in on the quarterback, and someone sneaks in behind them on, this is a 3rd and 3, so that player, 45 I believe it is, maybe it's 46, is defending the line to gain. So the completion over the top of them in some ways doesn't matter, because they're trying to stop the shorter route from beating them. And in this case, Stetson Bennett, completes it over the middle. Like I said, 24, 25-yard gain. End zone angle, it'll be the last part of it. If this is the first time you've ever heard me talk about cover 3, I love to examine the different ways that teams do it. It's a safe coverage in some ways. If you can get multiple players to execute multiple different responsibilities, then you can make it look more multiple than it is. Inside linebacker blitzing, being replaced. Additional to that, this edge defender dropping onto the hash, and this nickel defender, who it looks like is getting a signal from the free safety, is pushing out to the flats to our left. The defense is right, so you don't necessarily get a clean look at the coverage here, but you get a look at the 4-man rush, the pocket that Bennett has, wide open completion over the middle. So from that standpoint, not a successful play, but I like to try to give as much intel as I can, or information, based upon the knowledge that I have. Feel free to give me feedback in the comment section if you have a different understanding of the various versions of cover 3 and ways that teams try to give a safe but different look post-snap to the quarterback, such that they limit their risk but still give the pass rush an opportunity to get there by maybe forcing the quarterback to hold on to the football for 0.1 or 0.15 seconds longer than he would have if he knew that it was going to be a cover 3 delineation pre-snap. Appreciate you guys' time. If you like One Play Wednesday, again, you can feel free to give me suggestions now or each week leading up to Wednesday, stuff that I can do that's a short video, shorter than this one, which went on a little bit long. Appreciate you guys' time.